In this video, I'm going to share with you the secret agent that allowed me to climb to Immortal in only 155 hours. This agent goes against what a lot of people will tell you, however it worked for me, and I'm going to explain to you exactly how it did and how you can use them to rank up yourself as well. A lot of people are going to tell you to just lock Duelist and carry your games. Well, let me ask you something. How's that going? Are you the rank you want to be? Or are you still hard stuck and blaming your brain dead teammates for not ranking up? Do you constantly get high kill games and then tilt because it seems like your team can't do anything? Well, that's the life of a Duelist main. And the reason this is happening is because you are attributing everything to the amount of kills you're getting and not how well you can help out your team. Now, don't get me wrong, getting kills is important, but if all you're doing is getting kills and the rest of your team is struggling, you don't have a very good chance of winning the game. So how do you fix this? You play an agent that can get kills, support the team, and initiate for the team. Can you guess who that agent is before I tell you? Let me know what your guess is in the comment section down below. If you guessed Omen, you would be correct. But why Omen? Why is Omen the best agent to climb the ranks with? Well, what is one role that no one ever seems to want to play? The controller role. And what is the most important role on the team? The controller role. You know how disheartening it can be if everyone locks in and no one picks smokes, because it is so much harder to get anything done, especially once you start getting into the mid to high ranks. You also know how terrible it feels to have someone play smokes who doesn't even know how to place them, or even worse, they don't use them at all. Let's go deeper into why you should start playing Omen and how you can play him properly to ensure you win more games and rank up faster. You will almost always find someone who can play Duelist, Initiator, or Sentinel pretty well. However, you will rarely find people who can play smokes well. So if you are constantly locking a different role and relying on your teammates to fill into smokes, you are giving yourself a worse chance of winning the game. Simply because your teammate may be half decent at the game, but when they get stuck on a role they aren't comfortable with, they will end up performing badly in terms of kills and their utility usage. This will lead you to get mad at them for throwing your games while you're playing Duelist and quote unquote popping off. But imagine this, if you were able to play smokes instead and play them well and pop off in that role by getting kills and helping your team, you would allow your teammates to play the role that they're comfortable on, and they would probably perform much better and give you a better chance of ranking up. And I bet you're thinking, well Dylan, half the time my insta-lock Duelists don't do anything and play terribly. And that can be true, but if you're playing an agent like Omen, you can quite literally support your Duelists so well that they can end up performing better, which will help your team win the game. So the question is, how do you play Omen in order to carry your teammates every single game? Learn how to and when to smoke. Using your smokes effectively can have a massive impact on the game. They can stop push, they can help your team push onto site, and they can also help you initiate your team to take space and get kills, or take space and retake the site. You need to learn the basics like not smoking too deep or too shallow. You also need to learn one way so that your team can take easy fights, and start using your smokes more creatively to enter site or retake. Don't always throw them in default areas. If you're retaking, use them to cut off certain angles to enter site instead of just smoking the classic spots on the map. Also, if you're going to defuse the bomb, always smoke the bomb so that it makes it harder for the enemies to kill you. Make sure that you're not wasting your smokes right away. Always ask your team where they want to smoke so they can play off of it. And if you're going to take a site, do not smoke before your team is ready, as you may get held at a choke point, or you may end up rotating because the enemies are stacked, and if you wasted your smokes, you're gonna have a harder time taking space throughout the rest of the map. Also, when you're attacking, always throw the furthest smoke first and the closest smoke second. I see this done wrong all the time, and it gets people killed, because if you smoke heaven second and they are holding it, your team may end up pushing into main a little too quickly and get one tapped. If it's smoked first, this will not happen. On defense, when you're holding your site, I would suggest priming a smoke for the farthest or opposite site before the round starts. That way, if the enemy fast pushes the opposite site, you can smoke right away and give your team some cover. Also, make sure you're in a spot on the map where you can quickly and effectively smoke both areas of the site, as Omen does have limited range. When using your smokes, always communicate what you're doing with your team first to make sure you're on the same page. Using your smokes is pretty easy, and when done properly and communicated properly, your team can actually execute on them every single time, which will make every game seem a lot easier, not just for you, but for your team as well. This way, you don't have to rely on someone else to get the important work done. You can do it all yourself and do it properly, using your flash effectively. One of Omen's best abilities is his paranoia. This is one of the best flashes in the game, as it cannot be dodged and it can go through walls. The flash can be used to help your team get an insane amount of kills and execute onto site very easily, but so many people don't use it properly. For example, at the beginning of the round, talk to your team and and tell them you're going to flash a certain area and they can push up to it. This is going to net you so many free kills at the beginning of the round and give you numbers advantage. Most importantly though, this flash can be even more effective on defense. You need to be watching your minimap, and if you see your duelist or teammate is getting pushed or is going to take an early fight, you can blind for them and make it so much easier for them to get kills or get out if they are in trouble. It can also be used to retake a site, so throw your smokes down, block off certain lines of sight, and then blind the rest of the site. This will allow you and your team to easily get back in and secure the round. A lot of people use this blind completely wrong. They use it for themselves when in fact it should be used to help your teammates win rounds. This ability alone can allow your team to play well even if they aren't the best at the game. However, it can also be used selfishly if the opportunity arises. You can use the flash to TP behind someone, or you can also use it to push yourself. When to use it and how to use it is all situational, but always be thinking about how you can use it for your team and be watching the minimap and use it when necessary. Just while explaining this, you can start to see how much impact you can have when you play Omen properly instead of just pushing W and getting empty frags. Is using Omen's TP. Omen's TP is a very underrated ability. It can be used for you to entry onto site, get into off angles, get out of trouble, or even get information. If you use this ability properly, you can get an insane amount of frags for your team, and you can also be very hard to kill and predict. Use it to TP onto elevation on defense and hold off angles, or use it to reposition after you've been spotted by an enemy or you get a kill. And when you're on attack, you can use his TP to clear angles when getting onto site. All you need to do is place your TP into the smoke you're going to push, then jump out and clear left and right. You can also use his TP to soundbait when in clutch situations, or you can use it to take space in these situations by placing a smoke and TPing into it, or pretending to TP into it. As for Omen's Alt, it can be used for a multitude of different things. When you're on attack, you can use it to get behind the enemy team and catch them off guard. You can use it for a quick rotate when you have to switch sites, and if the bomb is dropped, you can TP onto it to secure the bomb for your team. As for on defense, if you have to quickly rotate to where your team is, you can ult there, or when the enemy is hard pushing, you can ult behind them and catch them off guard as well. His ult can be used in a multitude of different ways. You just have to find what is the best way to use it during each round. The possibilities with Omen are endless. You can lurk, you can initiate, you can entry, or you can play back and support. But always make sure that whatever you decide to do, you are there to help and support your team, making sure they can take space or defend the site, and always prioritize your smokes over everything else. As long as you are using your abilities to put your team and yourself into a position to secure kills and control the game, you will find that your teammates start performing better because you are having impact not just by getting kills, but by actually playing and controlling the game. Again, kills are important, but if you find yourself always top fragging and losing, it means that you are only getting kills and aren't doing anything to support or help your team. And at the end of the day, Valorant is a team game, and no agent controls the map and supports the team better than Omen. So stop interlocking duelists and start winning more games. If you want to make sure that you not only start helping your team play better, but you also fix all your mistakes and improve at an even quicker rate, go ahead and check out this video next.